Laura Ingraham joins us from our nation's capital. Laura, good morning to you.
Hey, Laura.
I'm sure Donald Trump is just devastated to lose that.
Great heart. Let's talk a little bit about Donald Trump. You've heard Donald Trump. He's been railing over the last 48 hours about how the system is rigged in Colorado. Ted Cruz on the other side says, Donald Trump is whining. How does it, the rules were the rules. People who wanted to know the rules, knew last summer what was going to happen in Colorado. But for the average person just tuning in and seeing, Laura, that the people of Colorado did not get to vote.
They don't vote.
Right.
Yeah,
like a lot of primary states, it looks like it's favoring the establishment.
Yeah, there are two things we can have in our minds at the same time. Number one, these were the rules. And if you're going to take on the establishment and you're going to take them on hard, you have to do that.
Play by their rules.
And it's tedious work on the ground. It really is tedious. You have to have an operation in place. That is true. That's all true. You can also hold the idea in your mind that it doesn't look good. I mean, it doesn't look good when you have more than 1 million Republican voters in a state, and they don't really have a say. I mean, they vote for these delegates in this very arcane process. So again, those are the rules. You really should know the rules and operate within the rules and try to win the delegates over to your side within those rules.
Right.
And at the same time, I think Trump is smart to say, this just isn't the way our framers intended, that this would be a representative democracy. Sure, it's not a pure democracy, but the people should have some say at some point that at least seems meaningful.
Yeah.
And when they sent that tweet out, the Never Trump tweet, I think they revealed themselves in Colorado for who they were. I had the former GOP state chair on my radio show yesterday, and he was sounding a lot like Trump, and what he was saying is like, this is like, your vote doesn't matter in Colorado. That's what Trump is saying. So, I think you can hold both ideas in your mind at the same time.
Now, Laura, Donald Trump did say, and he is the front runner, that if he is the nominee, he was talking a little about who his vice president might be. So he doesn't really want to name names, but there is a chance it could be Marco Rubio. This is what he said with Kirsten Powers. He said, yes, I like Marco Rubio. Yeah, I could. There are people that I have in mind in terms of vice president. I just haven't told anybody names. I do like Marco. I do like John Kasich. I like Scott Walker, actually, in a lot of ways. What do you think?
I don't think we should make too much of this. I think just looking at Marco Rubio at this moment, Trump needs someone with a lot of experience. I think executive experience he has, but just the nitty-gritty governance. Rubio's only been there for one term in the U.S. Senate. He hasn't really had a lot of legislative success. His number one piece of legislation basically brought down his own campaign in Florida. So I don't think that would get him very much. He's already going to win Florida, I think, against Hillary. He would have a good chance. He doesn't need Marco. And someone like Kasich would make a lot more sense programmatically for Donald Trump. He does have that long-term experience, budget surpluses, balancing the budget and working with Democrats. So I think Kasich makes a lot more sense. But I think Trump's kind of throwing out those names and reacting. I wouldn't make too much about the Rubio suggestion. I'd be surprised about that.
Laura, speaking about on vice presidents, on the other side of the aisle, the First Lady, Michelle Obama, in a new book, it is revealed or is told that she wanted Joe Biden to run so that he could beat Hillary Clinton. How deep and how lasting right now is this Obama-Clinton feud?
Deep.
I think this never went away. The bad blood after Bill Clinton talked about this is the biggest fantasy ever. Remember back in South Carolina in 2008? I don't think that ever went away. I know, we heard President Obama with Chris Wallace saying, oh, she was the best Secretary of State. But you don't see that kind of that affection between the Clintons and the Obamas that you would expect to see. Real deep affection. I've never seen it. Back when I wrote the Obama Diaries, it was kind of half satire, half real commentary. We kind of joked about the nasty relationship between the Clintons and the Obamas. I don't think it was ever really repaired.
Why are they doing it?
The body language.
What about this picture? Can you see this picture? You in front of a monitor? They're like about to kiss. They're like staring in each other's eyes.
Authentic.
Yeah, that looks so fake. That is. We need the body language expert. Don't you want the subliminal? Remember Saturday Night Live? You used to do those subliminal thoughts. Don't you? I don't. So.
Well, you know, if the Clintons and the Obamas really do hate each other so much, though, you know,
Or dislike.
Dislike. Okay, that's a good word to
Your
use
mom
as
would be
well.
happy.
There you go.
You weren't allowed to use the hate word.
You know,
Exactly.
so Obama can't be too thrilled about having Hillary Clinton take over if she were to win.
Well,
but if that's the only way to extend his legacy.
Yeah, I think. Look, it's a who can figure out what goes in the mind of Barack Obama sometimes, but he wants to beat the curse of a two-term president turning over the White House to the opposite party. You know, we saw Reagan do it in 1988 with George H.W. Bush, and they lost the White House, obviously, in 92 to Clinton. I think Obama wants to break that, what is a traditional bad run for the party in charge after 2 terms. So I think as best he could, he'd like to have a Democrat in there. But remember, the Clintons are to the right of Obama on most issues, despite Hillary's dance toward Bernie Sanders in this. I mean, the era of big government is over. He did work with Republicans. He did do welfare reform. His comment the other day to Black Lives Matter. I think Obama is way to the left of where Bill Clinton is. I mean, growing up in Arkansas, they have a sense of the heartland, even if Hillary's moved a little bit over to stage left in this primary season.
All right. Meanwhile, let's talk about the story. It's hard to believe it was only about a year ago. The story was revealed regarding Rachel Dolezal, who was running the NAACP in Spokane, Washington. She, as it turns out, was white, but had presented herself as black. Here's what she said at the time.
Are you African American?
I don't understand the question of, I did tell you that, yes, that's my dad. And he was unable to come in January.
Are your parents, are they white?
Well, she didn't want to answer those questions, but she was just on another morning show, and now she's got a book coming out, and she's got a lot to say. Listen to this.
Do you feel now that you have any regrets about some of the things you said about yourself that have now been revealed to not be true?
I'm not sure what you're referring to with that, but definitely I don't have any regrets about how I identify. I'm still me, and nothing about that has changed. I do wish that I could have really owned, given myself permission to really name and own the me of me earlier in life. I mean, it took me almost 30 years to get there, but certainly I feel like, it's a complex issue. How do you just sum up a whole life of kind of coming into who you are in a soundbite?
Is it a complex issue?
I just want to explore the me of me. I want to get back to the me of me. She has a career in politics. You do realize that, right? I mean, she is perfect. She won't answer a question, and then she bends definitive concepts that have an objective determination. You are white or black, unless your parents, one is white and one is black, right? But she just continues to speak about this as if we're living in a parallel race universe here. And if she were a conservative trying to pull this off, imagine that. Imagine if a conservative white woman started saying, okay, I'm black. You'd have like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton chaining themselves to the studio doors. I mean, this is just, it's bizarre. I think she, frankly, probably needs a little help.
Well, she's got a book coming out, so can hardly wait for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Rachel Dolezal. All right.
Remember hey, Doocy, remember the Three Dog Night song, Black and White, the child is black, the child is white? I mean, she's got to have a theme song with this. I mean, she's got to actually produce this whole identity. We're bending gender, we're bending race, we're bending politics. I mean, is there anything we're not bending today? I guess there's no definitive anything. It's just anything goes, so why not?
Three Dog Night. First person who's quoted that on the channel this year. All right, Laura, go do your radio show. She's also the editor-in-chief of Life Set.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you.
Good.